teeny tiny little...
And talk a little bit more about that knife. It is a camp knife?
Yeah, this is a swamp chopper. It's just kind of an example. I don't make this style often, but I had a customer request one of these upswept style blades, and he wanted a really big knife for just kind of chopping saplings and stuff down. So I made this, and as a kind of the pre-knife to the one he had actually ordered. Well, I showed it to him, and he decided he wanted to have this one too. So this is carbon steel. I forged that out of a round piece of stock, which I'll show you out in the shop. And then this is ironwood, and the guard is mild steel, and it's copper. And the blade on this is 12 inches long, so that's a lot of knife. And then here's there's a lot of ergonomics in this handle shape. It's curvy, but if it doesn't have this little up sweep back here when if you're chopping, bushes or whatever with it, it tends to want to work out of your hand. This is something I kind of picked up from old knives, like knives from the Philippines that I'd seen. Some of their knives have this swoop on it, and they've been making knives for maybe thousands of years, at least hundreds, but it keeps the knife from ratcheting out of your hand when you're chopping, and it looks nice.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice curvy shape. Most of the knives that you see out there are what I call a broomstick handle style. They're just pretty much straight. There's no flare or curve to them at all. Most of them are very, very straight. This is something kind of, this is really contemporary here. I wanted to do a knife that just has some facets on it. It's just more interesting sometimes. Instead of curving it, rounding it all off, just making these little flat planes. And actually, it was a little more difficult to do than just rounding it off. So. And then the steel in this, this is Damascus. It's a really fine pattern, but this was my first attempt at mosaic Damascus, and my idea was to try to make it look like kind of like palmetto trees, just the brushy part. So I don't know if you can see it from there, but you kind of almost have to look.
Kind of see it,
It's really, really fine.
Yeah. And, I think the camera's picking some of it up.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of, you can see the sheen on it. It's not because it's so polished, but there's when you have enough layers and they're close together, there's like the word I use is chatoyance. It's like the light refracts out of it, it's bouncing out of it, so it makes this, this is like, it's chatoyant.
Is it Damascus, you said?
This is Damascus.
Damascus, okay. Cool.
This belongs to one of the fellows I used to work for at the tire shop.
Oh, wow.
So does this one. This belongs to the owner, and this one's his son. This is another Damascus knife. This is my hunting knife design. This is Damascus blade. The handle it's ancient walrus ivory. It's not fossilized, but it's been buried in the permafrost near, like there's copper ore in the ground, so it picks up these blues and greens. It's really beautiful stuff. It's probably a couple 100 years old and just dug up out of the ground, and I thought it would make a great handle. It's an extraordinary knife.
How did you come across the...
I bought it at a show.
Okay.
I bought some people will go up there and collect it. They'll just kind of dig through the tundra and find it and bring it down and make it available for sale. And I made this knife for my friend Bill Watts. He's the guy I used to work for at Gerald's Tires. So I usually trade tires for them. I make them when they put tires in my car. I make a knife.
That's great.
I prayed through that knife. That was a knife. It was like, I feel like God taught me how to make that knife. It might sound crazy, but I didn't. I just kind of made it up as I went along. I built it based on the old knives that I inspected. A lot of these knives, people make them and they're really thin. When you're looking at their test knives, it's like 3/16 of an inch thick. I made this knife was 10 millimeters thick, but it tapered out to a needle. So by the time you looked at it edge on, the point almost disappeared. It was so thin out of the point, but that's how the other ones were also. They were really stout out here in the Ricasso, and then they just tapered out to a needle, and the cutting place on a dagger is not the edges. The point is always where a dagger is. It's most dangerous. The edges aren't. It's not designed for a cutting weapon. It's it's for penetrating. So that's why they're made this way.
Okay. I just realized it wasn't on when I. So got the
Damascus.
Damascus. This is Damascus.
Yep.
That's the fighter.
This knife, you can't see it in the photo, but has a really interesting, we call it a hamon or a temper line on it.
And it looks like, Alice thinks it looks like a shark.
Yeah, it looks like a shark. But on the Japanese swords, if you've ever seen one, they have like this cloudy, hazy line on it, and it differentiates between the hardened part, the springy part, and the soft part. And this knife had it. The photo it didn't show up in the photo, but it looks like a cloud here in the blade. So the edge is hard, and then this is all springy. And it's just kind of neat. I wish I had something I could show you. Oh, I might have a picture I can email you.
Cool.
Actually, you can see it really well on one.
Fighter, right?
Fighter,
and
and a fighter.
Fighter. And Bowie. And
fighter. I guess what would designate a knife as a fighter is the longer point. And this is one of my rules. If this is not sharp, then I don't care. It's not a fighter. I see people make knives and they call them fighters all the time. They could have the same profile, but that's not sharp. Then I don't consider it the modern American version of a fighter. You have some ancient knives. There's one that it's called a peshkabah.